G'day guys, how you doing? It's Lawrence here with another video about being a man and just going your own way. Or as I've said in previous videos, just trying to become the best version of yourself out there. Could be the best project you've ever worked on. But anyway, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this subject. This is what I personally call the second phase of red pill rage, or the second wave of red pill rage. And that's when you start waking up to everything that's actually going on around you. And for me, this was a very interesting period of time because it was mind-numbing, the stuff and the information that just started flooding my way. And it was literally because of the fact that I stepped through the door. You know, it's literally like you're standing in front of the door, and on that door it says, "Beyond this door lies the truth to the lies." And you literally step through that door, and once you've stepped through that door, there is absolutely no turning back in any way, shape, or form. In the previous videos, especially the first video, I mentioned about actually having to wake up to what happened to me as a child, what had been bestowed upon me by my parents and actually other individuals around me when I was a young lad, and actually it even carried on into my adult life, a lot of these issues. And so what I call the first wave of red pill rage is actually waking up to what is actually inside of yourself. It's kind of like the first phase of the initial programming on who we are as an individual. And it's a really tumultuous time for men, and I also believe that this happens to women also, but I don't know about the woman side of things. I definitely know about the male or the masculine side of things. So that first wave is waking up to the first wave of programming that we got, and that programming comes firstly from our parents, because the parents who are in our lives for the majority of our life, from when we're born to when we leave home. And the first wave of programming literally comes from our parents. And what I mean by programming is our belief system, our thought processes, so many things that we take out into what we call the world is actually taught to us by our parents. The second wave of programming, literally, and it is programming, we get programmed. It's really pretty bizarre how it happens. But that second wave is what happens firstly at the level of school, and then at the level of TV programming, okay? And then literally the indoctrination of how the whole system as a whole. So I explained in the first couple of videos that during dealing with that first phase of red pill rage, of actually starting to have to confront the demons that were inside of me from what had happened to me as a child and a number of other things, you know, I went through therapy and all that sort of stuff. How I dealt with the second wave of programming was actually, I thank God. I really, really do. It's like, oh my gosh, thank you. I couldn't have been in a more perfect environment to have been able to deal with getting to grips with basically the second wave of programming. What happened was, I mentioned in the previous video, I stopped drinking at the beginning of 2008, right? So what was going on with me was I was still firmly focusing on trying to become this I don't know what I was trying to become. I had these delusional ideas that I was going to become like this famous, well-known hot rod builder. I was going to become a legend in the industry and all that sort of stuff, and I was like, oh, whatever. But what was happening was I was still recovering. For those first couple of years while I stopped drinking, I was still recovering from that programming. And I believe this is why they've legalized alcohol, because what it does is it absolutely it fries certain areas of your brain. It kills certain snaps in your brain, and you end up continually making the same mistakes. Even though you're sober, you carry on and out into your sober life still making the same mistakes. And it's because of what's happened with your mind. It's really kind of, it's so freaking difficult to get through this period. It's ridiculous. And that's what was happening with me. For about the first year and a half, I was just constantly tripping over myself, making stupid mistakes. I couldn't get my shit together, all this sort of stuff. And I had this idea. I was finishing up my Camaro race car. I thought I was going to become this racing car driver. I had all these delusional ideas. It was absolutely unbelievable. And heading into April of 2009, I suddenly realized I started to get ill again. And I realized I took some time away from work because the previous year, at the end of 2008, I got incredibly ill. I got pneumonia. I was coughing up blood for 4 days. I had like 103, 104 temperature. It was just brutal. I started to get the same symptoms that I had when I got pneumonia. So I was like, this time I'm not working. I'm just going to stop, and that was it. Well, the wonderful thing was through the work that I did with my soul counselor, my spiritual counselor, that lady, I learned to meditate. So the house that I moved into was bitchin'. It was just absolutely freaking awesome. And right down at the backyard, it was on a huge piece of land, and we had an orchard way down in the backyard. And I set some outdoor furniture up there, an umbrella. And what I was able to do was I was able to meditate. And I just started to meditate on what was going on inside of me. And through that meditation, over about a week, I realized that I had to sell my Camaro. That was the first thing. The Camaro was causing me so much stress and distress because it was this idea that I had that I was going to be this person. And it was something that I was hanging on to, but it wasn't working. It wasn't going anywhere. And it was causing me so much pain and so much anguish that I was like, you know what? I'm selling it. And 2009, in April, May of 2009, the market was in the tank. Right? It was in the toilet. And I was able to put that car up for sale, and it sold like that. I got a decent amount of money, and the money that I got from that vehicle allowed me to basically not do anything for about the next, for most probably about the next 6 months. You know, I brought another vehicle, a decent vehicle for myself to drive around in. But what I was able to do was I was able to take time for myself. I was able to chill out in the backyard of this house during the summertime. I was able to read books. I was able to study up on information. And I really, really, really dove into myself. I still made mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I still made mistakes. That's what I'm saying. I still wasn't 100% right up here because I wasn't 100% right in here. Because in here works with up here. Remember I said in a previous video how we've got to bring in here and here, bring them together, bring them in communication, in alignment with each other. You've got to bring your heart, your mind, and your soul all to start working together as one. That's why what the whole Holy Trinity is about. That triangle, mind, body, soul. It's the Holy Trinity. You've got to bring your body together. Bring it all into one. But anyway, my point is this, is that I was able to take my time. I was able to heal myself, and I was able to look into what was going on around me as far as the indoctrination of the schooling system, how I wasn't taught anything other than what out here wanted me to be taught. And the reason why out here wants people to be taught certain things is we go out into the world and we feed into a system that feeds them, that props them up. And it's honest to God, that's how it's worked. It's worked that way for thousands of years, because before we became farmers, before we became a species that worked with crops and farming of any sort, we were actually a nomadic people. Human beings just wandered around the earth doing whatever they wanted to do. I mean, in New Zealand, the legend of Maui, the dude that fished up New Zealand, he was actually an incredible, and it's in historical records down there. Maui was a great navigator, this amazing sailor, and he was of Arabic descent. There's actually people in New Zealand whose DNA is actually Arab. Human beings were traveling around the world freely, thousands of years ago. It was only once we stopped and started farming that the system that we live in today, that started happening. And that's, what started thousands of years ago is literally how we're living today. But being able to chill out in the backyard of that house and being able to focus on myself and deal with myself and focus on what was going on around me and actually look at how everything worked and what was going on, that's what brought me to where I am today. There's one other thing that I did also, is I also confronted my parents about what happened. I was able to actually, let them know what they did to me. I was able to actually, let them feel and experience the pain that was inside of me, because they brought me so much pain. And I don't care what age parents are. I don't care how old they are. If they've abused you physically, verbally, emotionally, they've caused you pain in life, you need to let them know what they did to you. Period. And that goes for anybody else that's brought you pain or misery or anguish in your life. You really need to let them know, like, look, this is what you did to me. You don't have to be abusive back to them, but you've got to call them on it. You've got to be honest. Because by being honest with them, you're being honest with yourself. And that's the key thing that you have to learn to become, is honest with yourself. Because once you actually start becoming honest with yourself, then you can be honest with how you deal with stuff out there in the world. And you can start to see and start to walk and start to lead your own personal life, how you want to live your life. That is in accordance to what is in here, not what somebody out there is telling you that you should be doing, but from in here. And in that way you can turn around and tell people, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not going to go that direction. I'm doing this. Because you would start living the life that you needed to live. Okay? That's what this world is about. This world is about waking up to your own consciousness. Because everything on this planet and everything in our solar system and everything in the entire universe all revolves around consciousness. That is what you are here to wake up to. You have to wake up to, first, your own personal inner consciousness. You have to wake up to that. And once you wake up to that, then you start to see literally where you fit into the grand scheme of things and what your job is. Like my job, my awakening is actually the information that I'm putting out there, what I'm telling you. And there's going to be more and more and more information like this. But that is what this is about. For me, it's about helping other people wake up to their own inner consciousness and becoming who you really, truly need to become, which is you. You need to become you. Not an image of me, not an image of somebody else, or an image of what society or what the system tells you should be. You need to become the most authentic version of yourself. So that's this video. I hope it's helped you guys in some way, shape, or form. If you like the content, pound the like button. Feel free to subscribe, and thank you all to the people that have actually subscribed. I am truly very grateful and very appreciative of your viewership. So until next time, guys, make it great. Cheers.